It's the pit of despair, the words of one retailer today, trying to navigate some of the worst trading conditions on the high street in 4 decades. And figures suggest the retail sector here is being hit harder than anywhere else in England.
Footfall, that's the number of people going shopping, is down 6.6%, and 10.5% of shops in this region are vacant. Anxious times for retailers with 109 shopping days until Christmas, traditionally their busiest time of the year, as Ben Godfrey reports.
It's the big high street survival battle, from the might of the glossy mall to the plight of the small trader. Simone Mary lost jobs at 3 high street chains before deciding to go it alone. Shiny Gifts in Bromsgrove is surviving just. Sales are down by 1/3, so suppliers aren't always paid on time.
I go through some days I'm in a pit of despair, but I have to keep friendly. I'm getting the same sort of amount of people, but they're spending a lot less, and there's not much spare cash about. It's as if there was a tap that was switched off as soon as the government announced all their cuts.
August's been another traumatic month for trading. The head of the co-ops warned of some of the worst conditions in 40 years, and shoppers are watching their wallets.
I think it's difficult for everybody with money, isn't it? Not very confident. We're quite careful with what we're doing.
Not very confident at the moment, just sort of keeping our belt in, if you know what I mean.
Very careful at the moment, but optimistic.
Today, Solihull's showpiece, the Touchwood Centre, celebrated a decade in business. Sales are up 8% year on year. The success is enticing more big-name traders.
It's about developing more of an experience in store to complement retail presence, and those retailers who can do that, they're going to be the ones who can capitalise on the current spend and really move forward.
Solihull seems to have a sort of conveyor belt of people ready to spend money. Let's not forget it's one of the most affluent boroughs in the UK, but not everywhere can say the same.
Back in Bromsgrove, Simone Mary's got some elusive customers, but is going to need many more to succeed and cover business rates of around £6,000 a year.
How confident are you that this business will still be here in a year?
Pretty confident. It's going to be tough. I don't want to let this beat me, this so-called recession. I hate saying that word.
A drop in tax and VAT is next on the shopping list of this independent trader. Ben Godfrey, BBC Midlands Today.
Well, I'm joined now by Kevin Breeze from Retail Birmingham. Thanks very much indeed for coming in this evening. First of all, are you worried, or should we all be worried, about the number of empty shops?
I think certainly you're looking at 1 in 10 shops generally across the UK and certainly the region. That's not really unnormal to what it has been for a number of years, and I think what we've got to remember is there's always going to be a churn, and there's always going to be good retailers and poorer retailers, and we've seen some great names disappear. But that isn't any different to what we've seen for the last couple of years. And what we've now got to get used to is the fact that we will always see this churn, and we have now got to see that it's going to be a tougher time for all of us.
I hear what you're saying, but we saw a shopkeeper there in that report, didn't we? He was beside himself with worry, just not getting the people through the door as he was before the cuts were announced. So there is obviously some sort of correlation with recent cuts and lone traders. People aren't spending that extra money.
No, I totally agree. I think one of the issues I think we've got is that I do think councils and actually bodies have got to work harder. I think certainly I don't think it's about a VAT decrease at all. I think actually what it is about is local government making more ability for small traders not to pay their business rate, which is the single biggest problem that most retailers have.
That was a lot there, wasn't it? £6,000 a year in that small shop. Is that?
Oh, the business rate is a massive amount of money, and I think what we've got to do is we've got to push now to get government to let that money stay in the regions, because when we do pay our business rate, all that does is go into central government and then comes back in the form of a grant. Okay. What we've got to do is get that money back into the region and then use that for developing local economies much better.
And people like Birmingham Retail, are you pushing for the government to do that?
I think we continually have a voice, working with people like British Retail Consortium and as well as all the Business Improvement District. It's a big part about what we've got to do is actually helping retailers across the whole of the region actually prosper. And whether that's a great independent retail, which is the lifeblood of retail, or whether you're a massive shopping centre, everybody needs to work together.
Well, just very briefly, because we are running out of time, I just need to ask you, we're hearing about the big shopping centres doing OK, people still going there to spend money, sort of destination shopping. But do you think then the high street, humble high street, has a future, or do you think it's sort of a dying?
Oh, I think it's absolutely must have, and I think certainly I visited many shopping centres over the last 12 months. Birmingham with its independent retail in particular is absolutely fantastic. We've got to develop that more because that creates the excitement and not just cloned high streets everywhere else.
OK, Kevin Breeze, thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks.
Well, let's go on to sport now.